Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I can't honestly remember if I told you this golf story or not, so I'm quickly going to repeat it if I did. A man and his wife walked into a dentist's office. The man said to the dentist, "Doc, I'm in one heck of a hurry and I have two buddies sitting out in the car waiting for us to go play golf, so forget about the anesthetic. I don't have time for the gums to get numb. I just want you to pull the tooth and be done with it. We have a 10 a.m. tea time and it's 9:30 already. I don't have to wait for the anesthetic to work." The dentist thought to himself and said, "My goodness, this is surely a very brave man asking to have his tooth pulled without using anything to kill the pain." So the dentist asked him, "Which tooth is it, sir?" The man turned to his wife and said, "Open your mouth, honey, and show him." Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Thursday. Good morning, good morning. Oh, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you as our major sponsor right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Thank you to Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with some of our great advertisers, including, of course, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, and our friends at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. And don't forget, on Thursdays, all day long, any size fountain drink, only 50 cents at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Hey, Wheels, good morning. How are you today?
I'm great, sir. How are you?
Good. Can you turn the feed line to me up just a touch? Not much, just a little bit, because I'm having a little hard time hearing some of the, like Kate Smith and other things. And do we have a Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, we do. Dal is on the phone.
All right. Thank you very much. Dal, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm rocking than rocking this morning.
Go ahead with the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I love the emphasis. Thank you, Dal. God bless you and your wife. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. My goodness sakes, we have got a full plate today, and right now I want to remind you that we're going to have the weather brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Don't forget, they've got a great big community garage sale coming up on August the 8th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you'd like to reserve a space, call them at 678-6945. And today is Thrifty Thursday, and use those leftover pieces of hardwood flooring to create something great for your walls. Hey, talk to them about it at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 678-6945. And right now, here's the weather.
Here is your weather forecast for today. Looks like partly to mostly cloudy skies. Going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the southwest, right around 11 miles an hour. We do still have a chance of afternoon rain showers or thunderstorms. High of 79 for today. Tonight, low of 55. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Still a little bit on the breezy side. Partly cloudy. High of 81 with an overnight low of 55. For Saturday, sun is going to be shining. Beautiful. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 80s. Lows in the low 50s. Pretty much the same for Sunday as well. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Thank you, Gina. I appreciate it. Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Whatever you need to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring. Look for the blue door or give them a call at 678-6945. Hey, don't forget my buddy over there at Ted's Diesel and Electric, and that, of course, is Doug Martin, and he's moving to 635 21st Street in Hayburn, right there on Al Fresco Road. And to better serve you, Doug can rebuild starters, alternators, generators, everything from lawnmowers to great big locomotives. And he sells new, too. Ted's Diesel and Electric is moving. You stay tuned. We'll tell you more. Hey, right now, let's bring in Merv May. Come on in here, Merv.
All right. He gets the steer calves there here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5.
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best auctioneer. I've listened to a lot of them. Merv does the job. Let me tell you, Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, with sale time this morning at 10:30. The sale that works for you with Merv May, Cade Rogge, Lance Udy, and the rest of the crew. Hey, I'm telling you, they're going to bring in a lot of butcher cows today. TLK Dairy up at Mountain Home bringing in 2 truckloads of butcher cows, and P-Bar S Dairy out at Malda bringing in a load of butcher cows. Acme Dairy, hello folks over at Acme Dairy, how are you? Butcher cows coming into the ring, and Antelope Hills in Burley, that dairy bringing in butcher cows. 10:30 sale time, along with a great trailer line run at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. For sale information, call 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right. He gets the steer calves there here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, sell them $35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
I don't mind that price for hitting bottom. It's pretty doggone good. Hey, by the way, I understand that an Iranian-American pastor who preaches against what he calls the threat of Islam, and we all should have that calling, is coming to Twin Falls. Sharam Hadian, I hope I said his name right, converted to Christianity about 15 years ago, and he's going to be speaking on next Monday at the Canyon View Baptist Church in Filer on Monday, and then speaking at the Eastside Baptist Church in Twin Falls on Tuesday, and I believe both of those are at 7 p.m., and we're going to tell you more about that as it goes along. Don't forget our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, my goodness sakes, they've got everything for your electrical and heating and cooling needs. I don't want to just say heating and electric. I want to say heating, cooling, and electric, because the thermometer getting back up there again, 90s, 91, 92, and you want to stay cool. They've got all the air filters for your air conditioners, along with everything else you need. Like I said, heating, cooling, and electric at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, where they provide warm winters and cool summers at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Just a moment ago, excuse me, we were talking about Valley White Home and Ranch. And, of course, fair season is upon us. And, man, they're located at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valley Wide Home and Ranch. And I mean everything. Whether you need your clothing to show your animals, you know, your boots, your jeans, your shirts, your hats, everything is right there at Valley Wide Home and Ranch. And all the brushes and the buckets and the feed and the horse tack, everything is at Valley Wide Home and Ranch. Fishermen, everything's at Valley Wide Home and Ranch. They even got the worms. I'm telling you, it's all there at Valley Wide Home and Ranch. And your licenses, I mean, everything's there. And on Thursdays, like I said earlier, fountain drinks only 50 cents all day long. Hey, stop into Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. There you go. Good folks. I want to say a thank you to Gina and Wheels filling in for me yesterday. We had kind of a interesting 2 days. Tuesday, what you got there, Deanne? A little note. Oh, I can't possibly make that. Would you please tell them that, please, and see what they say? Little personal note there Deanne handed me that just came off the web. Anyway, we were down in Spanish Fork, Utah on Tuesday afternoon and the evening, where I was inducted into the Spanish Fork Fiesta Days Hall of Fame. The Fiesta Days, one of the biggest pro rodeos in the United States. And I announced that rodeo 27 years. And boy, were we treated like kings and queens when we got into town. It was absolutely phenomenal. And I want to say thank you to those good folks down there. And then yesterday, we had to take the time to go to University Hospital and have the old hip checked out again, and then back home last night. So thank you very much to Gina and Wheels for filling in for me yesterday. I do appreciate it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you, my dear friends at Denny's, Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and Thomas and Terry, the whole crew. You know, I've had so many people call me and say, you know what? That food is tremendous at Denny's, whether you're going in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Well, our lunch bunchers know how good it is, and you can too. All you have to do is just stop in today, 611 Overland and Burley. And don't forget, too, they've got another new location to serve you at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. The best Denny's restaurants serving you. Wow. This is something that is absolutely unbelievable. Sit down. I don't want you standing up listening to this story, because I'm sure it's going to make you as mad as it did me. But this is complete insanity. Now, in Seattle, Washington, there is a major movement, a major push by the mayor, and his name is Ed Murray, to push and offer Muslims what they're calling Sharia mortgages, which are interest-free loans. I can't possibly make this stuff up. Now, Sharia law, as you may or may not know, doesn't allow Muslims to pay interest. So, the mayor of Seattle, Ed Murray, is searching for ways to help them buy houses without having to pay any interest. So the banks are considering taking interest off and devising a different purchase plan for Muslims. And guess who's backing this? Goldman Sachs and others, and you know their track record on investments. And this is absolutely unfair. It's absolute discrimination against the rest of us. And my simple question is, why? Why would we want to do that? Mayor Murray wants to meet with lenders to solve a problem and possibly put the rest of the public on the hook for the debt. We, the taxpayers, the American public, would be on the hook for this debt if it defaults. Oh, haven't we been there before? More and more lenders are offering Sharia-compliant financing, according to a USA Today report. And the sector has grown to more than $1.6 trillion in assets worldwide. And there are over 30,000 Muslims living in the greater Seattle area. And we, the taxpayers, would be on the hook because they're going to be offered interest-free mortgages. What are your thoughts on this? Give me a call, please. Please. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I'm almost at a loss of words. Some of the things I heard about and read about over the last 48 hours will absolutely just blow your mind. And I'm going to get into some of those stories, but I really want to hear What do you think about that? You know, we went through all the hoops and jumped over the ropes and everything to get our mortgage and did everything. Now, if you're Muslim, you can't pay interest, so we'll work around that and maybe put the taxpayers at risk on your home. That is utter discrimination. BASF, committed to successful agriculture. And I really want to say thank you to Ron Ellis every Monday at about 9:46. He's on the air with us and talking about how BASF and their products can help you, Mr. Agriculture, Mr. Farmer, can grow bigger and better and safer crops. There you go with BASF. So tune in again next Monday at 9:46 for more with Ron Ellis. His number to call, 431-6776. And don't forget, contact your fieldmen and crop advisors today with the products from BASF. Calls are welcome. Come on, give me a call, please. I can't imagine that you don't want to talk about that subject. I mean, my goodness, all of us probably bent over backwards trying to get everything set up on our mortgages, to get our homes and everything. And now it seems like we're catering and giving and providing interest-free loans to a certain segment of this society. Don't forget Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. My goodness, they're having a lot of fun up there. What's going on tonight? Well, they've got that 7 p.m. Ranch Rodeo tonight. The real buckaroos and buckarettes are going to be out there tonight, so don't forget at... okay, good, Deanne. I'll take that. Thank you very much. I had another note coming in. You know, it's hard for me to concentrate when you hand me notes like that. Ranch Rodeo tonight at the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. And then tomorrow and Saturday night, the IMPRA Rodeo. Oh, my goodness sakes, they are having fun in Lincoln County up in Shoshone. And it's going to end on Saturday, so have some fun. Get up there and enjoy a real county fair the way it's meant to be at Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo. Lots of fun in Shoshone. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Can we switch subjects for a second?
Not really, Tony. What is it you want to talk about? I want to stay right on this Sharia law and this giving interest-free loans.
Yeah, well, it's this sanctuary law, cities that he's not going to defund. He's going to keep these things going.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I can comment on that quickly. The Steinle family and others that have lost their sons and daughters to illegal aliens being in this country and killing them, they testified in front of the Senate the other day, and many of the senators, this is so disgusting, Tony, many of the senators, instead of paying attention to these families with their heart-rending stories, they fell asleep in their chairs and were bored. Some were even reading other books while they were testifying in front of the Senate. And I'd like to find out the names of these senators, and I want to send each and every one of them a letter that tells how despicable I think they are.
Well, you need to put their name out over the radio, Zeb.
I'm trying to find them.
So much hate for this country.
I agree. I'm going to find out the names of those senators, and I'm going to publish that, and I'm going to send letters of condemnation. You know, this is so pathetic to think that these families lost sons and daughters because of illegal aliens that shouldn't have been here. They have come back many, many times. They are felons, and they live in sanctuary cities, and I say cut off the funding to the sanctuary cities. That's it. Today, adios, no more money.
He hates this country so much because he can't run it as a dictatorship. That's what his whole problem is.
Well, I tell you what, when I listen to some of the stories, not only of the Steinle family, but also others that were testifying before that Senate hearing, I just absolutely wanted to reach out and grab those senators, shake them by the necktie, and just absolutely ridicule them. That was so pathetic. Some of them actually were sleeping and reading other books while they were supposedly listening to that testimony.
The Republicans put them over the air. I'll call their offices.
All right. Tony, stay in touch with me on that. Call me later on, and we'll try to get that list made up.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Calls welcome, 436-2244. Good morning, caller. How are you?
Okay. Good morning, Zeb.
Hi there.
Do you have free money to loan?
Don't even jest with me about this, Keith. I'm not in a very good mood.
Okay. Well, somewhere along the line, somebody's going to have to pay this. Is it going to go to taxpayers?
Yep.
Or are they going to do a funny little trick where they build it into the loan, or what?
Well, this is what really is bothersome to me, because there really wasn't anything that was said as to how it was going to be set up. Let me read something to you real fast. Earlier this month in Luxembourg, they issued a $254 million 5-year Islamic bond known as a sukuk bond. And it acts like traditional bonds, delivering payments to investors until maturity to comply with Sharia law. But it may put the taxpayers on the hook if the loan is defaulted.
Well, I'm sure that will happen.
Oh my, yeah. No, this is just idiocy, Keith.
What really bothers me is this legislature. I don't know exactly a lot about it, but they go by a zip code, and within that zip code, 1 out of every 9 loans must go to a black person.
Well, I really, something, I don't know about the setup or the schematics of how they have to make money, loans, and the numbers, the supposedly non-discriminatory numbers and everything. But Keith, back up to the Sharia loan. That is entirely discrimination. Did the bank offer you any time in your life an interest-free loan?
I don't remember any, but I have had credit cards that were interest-free for a period of time.
For a period of time, yes. But all this is going to create another housing bubble. Do you remember, my friend, the housing problem that we had in the last 2 decades with people that jumped in, were way over their necks, and then bingo, bango, the housing market went down the old toilet. Remember that?
Yes, I do, and it was the same thing in the automobile industry.
Yes, it was.
They made loans shouldn't have been made, and they had all kinds of problems, and it fell back on the taxpayers because the corporations went bankrupt.
Oh, but don't worry, Keith. The government, through Obama, devised the greatest plan ever known to mankind, cash for clunkers. What's the matter with you?
Well, I guess I just wasn't smart enough to figure it out soon enough.
All right, God bless you, man. I got to run. Thank you so much.
Okay,
all right, thanks. Bye. What do you think about this? Why? I'm going to come right down to the bottom line. Why cater? Why cater to a certain segment of society? You live in America. You abide by our laws, our rules, our Constitution, and the way that our economic growth and factors, banks, etc. are operated. But to get special privileges because you are not supposed to pay interest according to your Sharia law, isn't that, honestly, think about this, isn't that caving in and accepting Sharia law in this country? Yeah. Caller, quickly. I've only got a minute left before a hard break. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb. Welcome back.
Thank you.
The most important thing, we don't need to worry about a housing crash or anything. Sharia law supersedes any law in any country, and whatever it is, Sharia law is the law, and if things go wrong in America, Sharia law is still in force.
I know it.
There we are. Don't worry about housing bubble. I'd worry about the law that supersedes the one you're living in.
Yeah, but hold on a second, Gary. Just a second. Stop the bus. Take a little deep breath. This is why I am absolutely and adamantly opposed to letting any of this group, the Islamics, underneath the veil of being a Muslim, take a toehold in our society. It was 2 years ago that an imam testifying on ABC television said that it will not be long before an Islamic flag flies over the White House. And you know what? It's coming to fruition.
And you are absolutely correct, and that's exactly what's happening. Little by little, a toe in the door at a time.
I'm scared about this. I'm scared and I'm furious because...
I'm just besides myself, can't hardly even think.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gary, it's going to take the general public to really be outraged enough to get this around. But you know who really bears the brunt of letting this happening is our senators and congressmen. They should be outraged like us. But the liberal left, the Nancy Pelosi's and that sect are going to try to push this thing through.
And now we have a mayor who is so simple-minded and so out of the loop and thinks that he's so politically correct and the darling child of Seattle that he's going to let this happen.
Yes, yes. God bless you for your call. Always appreciate you. Thank you, sir. I got to get right to the Capital Press Ag Minute brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology with the doctor of audiology. The doctor is in and she can hear you now. Christine Pickup, yes, behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. The number to call, 312-0957. And again, please protect your hearing. And I'm telling you, hearing screening is a necessity. And she can help. She can help. Yes. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Christine Pickup, 312-0957. Call for a hearing screening today. Here's the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Domestic bulb onion prices have risen rapidly and fallen below break-even levels this winter. Bulb onion prices were at depressed levels last fall and got worse through the winter, falling as low as $4 for a 50-pound bag of jumbos. Says Kay Riley, manager of Snake River Produce and Onion Shipper. That's below break-even and does not really cover production on the farm, he says. But there was a big reduction in supply and the markets improved dramatically. Prices have increased rapidly since March and now are at $16 a bag. Onion growers in southwestern Idaho and in eastern Oregon, the nation's largest onion-producing region, are hopeful prices will still be robust when they start shipping this year's crop in the fall. For the Capital Press Ag Minute, I am Raul Peña.
Oh, okay, I guess he's done. No music this morning, Raul. What did you forget? Anyway, thank you very much to Mount Harrison Audiology. And, of course, call today for a hearing screening at 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology. Hey, Wheels, I compliment you over there because, boy, old Raul doesn't give you much notice, does he?
Not really, man. I felt left out of... I felt left in the dark on that one.
Don't feel like the Lone Ranger. Just go get a flashlight.
Well, I know, that awkward moment where it just, no sound comes out.
Dies. Yes, serious? I do. Hey, listen, man, thank you. Sophie's Chatterbox. Don't forget 530 East Street in Rupert. Every Monday we give away a half dozen delicious cinnamon rolls. Oh, they are fantastic. She's open at 6 to 6 on weekdays, 6 to 2 on weekends. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert. Absolutely delicious. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
I wrote your name down, honestly, on this piece of paper. I got it right here on my tablet, and I knew that when I mentioned this subject, you would be one of the callers to call in.
Well, I'll tell you how I feel about this. If they have money in our banks and stuff like that, let's quit paying them on, interest on their investments. Let's make sure that if they've got anything out there that they are expecting big interest rates, let's just cut them where it hurts. Because we in the United States, the only way you really make new money is interest.
Yep.
If you're going to go out and borrow something, you've got to pay for the privilege.
Well, I would dare say that I can stick my neck out here, and I don't think it's going to get injured, that you, as a farm wife and farm family for all your years, I doubt seriously if you went into the bank, sat down, put your feet up on the desk and said, well, here's what we need for operating capital. Oh, and by the way, we're not going to pay you any interest.
Well, and the banker has the right to say, I guess you'll work on your own money this year.
Absolutely.
And, that is kind of a precarious place to be.
Oh, and by the way, if you decided that you didn't want to pay back the money and you defaulted on your loan, what happens then, Chris?
No more money.
Oh.
And then they can take my house.
Oh, why, that's harsh, because our Islamic friends, they, of course, could have that defaulted loan passed on to the taxpayers. Where's your heart and where's your milk of human kindness?
No, I really am disappointed in the state of Washington. I used to think that it was a great place to visit, and the people in Washington were some very intelligent people. But I have reached other conclusions. And the sad thing is some of our main industries are in that state that we can't get along without.
Yeah.
And how is he treating them?
Well, you know, Chris, the whole thing boils down to one simple word. We're supposed to be living in a non-discriminatory world, colorblind world, and we're supposed to be offering the same to all. Isn't this way of financing for homes totally discriminatory against you and I?
Well, I think we need to put a lot of big limits on who gets off of those airplanes coming into our country with their bags full to move in.
You know, take a look at 30,000 in Seattle. And let's just say, you know, here are 15,000.
They know about.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. But take 30,000 there, another 40,000 here, 60,000 there. Pretty soon you're up in the millions and 2 million and 3 million. And let's just assume that they are offered these interest-free loans for housing, and even half of them go upside down, and the taxpayers are on the hook. Isn't that a revisit to what happened to the housing market before that everybody suffered from?
Mm-hmm. Just think about little old Magic Valley. We have a lot of strangers amongst us these days.
Amen, yeah.
Are they paying their way?
You know, I am just so livid over what's happening in this country and the lack of value for honoring the United States citizen. Let me just give you a quick example about something else that made me furious this morning. I just heard this morning that the Obama administration is saying, oh, well, you don't have to pledge allegiance to the United States of America at your new citizen's graduation ceremony, that you are now a new citizen. You are a citizen of the United States. They are saying through the Obama administration that they don't have to say the pledge anymore. They don't have to show any responsibility. They can get the benefits of being an American with no responsibility or allegiance to this country, and I say hogwash!
Yes, I say hogwash with you. That is one of the oaths that I take with tears in my eyes, because I love this country so much.
I have been asked, this is going to blow your mind, I have been asked by some of the liberal loons that live right here in this Magic Valley to not start the program off with the Pledge of Allegiance. They say it's too discriminatory.
Well, then they can turn off their radio.
Well, I have told them actually a little bit harsher words than that.
Well, it's your business. I mean, you know, you can say whatever you want. Anyway, no, we Americans, if we really call ourselves proud red, white, and blue Americans, we've got to get out in the streets and let our message be known.
And by the way, they did that in New York yesterday. They did that in New York. God bless them. 10,000 protesters gathered in New York yesterday on Times Square to say no to the Iranian nuclear deal. 10,000.
Oh, good.
Yes, ma'am. I got to run, Chris. Thanks so much.
Okay.
All right, thank
Bye-bye.
you. Don't forget Berry Equipment and Rental. Eli, Nick, and the whole crew. 3 locations to serve you. Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They have all the equipment to get any job done right. Whether you're leasing or buying, it's there at Berry Equipment and Rental. Now, please, understand they've got the best of people working there, too, like at the Burley location, Nick and Will, the whole crew right there to serve you with all the equipment, whether it's the Doosan loaders, the Bobcats, the Coyote tractors, whatever, it's all there. Barry Equipment and Rental. A little bit later on this morning, we're going to be visiting with Eli at Barry Equipment and Rental. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, Minnecash Sales, bringing you Dr. History every Tuesday, right here on Zebeth Ranch, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. Thank you, Zach. Thank you to the entire crew. Thank you for all you do with all the lumber packages and, of course, the best of Western Windows, saving on your heating or cooling bills. And also, hey, listen, the Tartar Farm and Ranch Gates and Panels, the best. Tartar makes the best. It's all there at Minnecash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. And they sponsor Dr. History. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think, honestly, about that? I mean, banks are considering taking the interest off and devising different loan purchase plans for Muslims because they, in Sharia law, don't believe in paying interest. According to the sheet that was sent to me this morning, Sharia law prohibits payments of interest on loans. And so up in Seattle, Washington, the 28-member committee recommended the city convene lenders and community leaders to explore options for increasing access to Sharia-compliant loan products. Why? Why them and not us? I am very bitter about this. Very bitter about this. Let me know your thoughts. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And then some of these minority groups yell, racist? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The American taxpayer, you get up and go to work every day, pay your bills, go down and get shoes for the kids, maybe have an exaggeration of your budget once in a while and stop and have a dish of ice cream, oh boy. And you work about making sure that your mortgage is taken care of, your health care is paid, you try to do everything you can to be a good citizen, and then somebody comes along and gets the freebies that you have never been offered. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I'd like to get interest-free money.
Oh, buddy.
But I'll guarantee you it is not. They're going to mark in a profit somewhere. They'll name it something else. Processing charge, doc fee, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, but Doug, wait a minute. There is, and I didn't write this story. I got it sent to me this morning, and it was written by a journalist by the name of Michael Strickland. It says right here that Mayor Murray in Seattle wants to meet with lenders to solve the problem and possibly put the rest of the public on the hook for the debt if they default.
Now that, I didn't hear that part about it, and that is bovine droppings.
I needed a giggle. Ready?
One from the Gatlin brothers on Fox and Friends.
Yeah.
Bovine droppings. I can't say the other on TV.
But, well, you're not on TV, you're on radio. But anyhow, this is so discriminatory against the rest of us.
It is. And they're just playing the system, and it's just step by step, inch by inch, they're going to take this country down. And that's part of their plan.
Well, you're not going to get an argument from me. And this Obama administration and everything they have done to just absolutely go against the grain, go against the moral values of our society, go against our Constitution. Like I mentioned just a minute ago, can you imagine taking away the Pledge of Allegiance? Oh, well, no, we're not going to make you say the pledge anymore. So basically, you can become a citizen and not really stand up and pledge that your allegiance towards this country as a new citizen is worth anything. No, we're not going to take any responsibility for it. We just want the welfare benefits and everything else. That is insane, Doug.
It is. It's totally insane. If they want to come to this country, and there's reasons people want to come to this country, is because of what we've done and how people here can better themselves, get a better life. You're not living under the thumb of a dictatorship, and you can live a comfortable life. But the ones that come here just to go on the government take and just bring us down, we don't need them.
Absolutely. No, it's not just a need, Doug. It's not we don't need them. I don't want them here.
Well, yeah, it's, I had a train of thought there, and then all of a sudden it went poof. It's gone.
Oh, I have many of those.
Many of those.
I'm so glad I was able to share with you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug.
I'll think about it when I hang up.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, have a great day.
All right, weather forecast coming up now, brought to you by Mad River Laser. Oh, you need something made up for your business, like jackets or T-shirts or caps or sweatshirts or whatever with your logos. You want to give maybe somebody a buck knife, as maybe a thank you present and have it engraved with their name. Oh, my goodness, they've got it all at Mad River Laser. What talent. Oh, I tell you what, I was so impressed when I first met these folks. Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. And they just celebrated 8 years in business. They are fantastic. 502 East Street in Rupert. You stop in and see Nicole and the crew today. Here now, the weather.
Here is your weather forecast for today. Looks like partly to mostly cloudy skies. Going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the southwest right around 11 miles an hour. We do still have a chance of afternoon rain showers or thunderstorms. High of 79 for today. Tonight, low of 55. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Still a little bit on the breezy side. Partly cloudy. High of 81 with an overnight low of 55. For Saturday, sun is going to be shining. Beautiful. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 80s. Lows in the low 50s. Pretty much the same for Sunday as well. That's your weather forecast for Zip at the Range.
Thank you very much. Don't forget, sponsored by our dear friends at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. They are the best. Oh, by the way, I know somebody else that's the best too, and that's Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Nick Greenwell heads up all the physical therapists that work there and serve you. And you know what their goal is? Honestly, their goal is to get you back to feeling and being you. That's right. They know all the exercises. They know all about the sports medicine. They know all about how to help you in that hydrotherapy pool. Very friendly staff, and they are good. Call them today for an appointment at 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I know they're good. That's where I go. 436-2244-1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. Let me know. A moment ago, I mentioned that yesterday 10,000 protesters lined up in the area of Times Square, New York, to protest the idiocy. And I'm going to use that word and I mean it. The idiocy of the Iranian nuclear deal that basically, I have no idea when you start reading about what they're doing, what they gave away, what they are going to be allowing Iran to do. It's absolutely unbelievable. Well, 77%, listen to this very closely. This is important. 77% of Americans polled are absolutely against the Iranian nuclear deal as it sits on the table right now with Obama. 77% are against it. Actually, you want to know the truth? From my travels and my telephone calls and my acquaintances, I think the number actually is even higher than that. And of the people that were polled, and of the 77% that are against this Iranian nuclear deal, all of them against it felt that the sanctions should be left in place and even made tougher and more stringent. In other words, it goes back to a program that I mentioned over a month ago, right here on the air in the first hour, that I said the screws should be tightened up. And to make them compliant and realize that we're not going to mess around with them, the sanctions should have been tightened up and made tougher, and then looked them in the eye and said, now, you have 10 minutes to make phone calls to the prisons and let our American captives go. Or the sanctions will be made even tougher. They didn't do that. John Kerry and his so-called negotiating team, kind of like the Three Stooges, visits the Middle East. They didn't do anything like that. And 77% is a huge number. And they were on the streets in New York yesterday saying, this is complete lunacy. And Obama is wrong. And that this nuclear deal has to be stricken down. But you know what Obama said. He said, oh yeah, we'll open it up for debate, but I will veto any measures or motives to stop this nuclear deal. I don't know why the American public hasn't, and I had a caller last couple of days ago that said, boy, we sure should be looking at ways to throw this guy out of office before the next year and a half, which I absolutely would love to see happen. But I don't know why the senators and the congressmen and the governors of all the states and everything else haven't shown a complete disdain and dismissal of this administration's rules and regulatory means of controlling us even further. I'm surprised they haven't been laughed out of Dodge City. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness sakes, they've got tires. You know they've got tires. They've got all the tires you need for safe driving. And for your passenger cars, they've even got some of their best sellers on sale right now. The Eclipse tire, all-season traction, smooth, quiet ride. And the Strategy, year-round traction, 60,000-mile warranty, on sale now. You stop in and see any one of the 7 locations today. And don't forget about that free pre-trip safety check, yes sirree, and the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, of course batteries. It's all there. All there for you with the best of service. At your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, when is our voice going to be heard? When is our voice going to be heard and listened to and respected? I mentioned earlier this morning that coming in next week is this Pastor Sharam Hadian. I apologize if I messed up his name. A former Islamic teacher and preacher that went against Islam and became a Christian. He converted to Christianity about 15 years ago. And I am absolutely going to try to make every effort I can to go listen to him speak. And I'm sure that he's going to tell us that we are so gullible. We are being so naive, and we are being so controlled into accepting not only what Islam wants us to accept, but also this administration. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, and I got to tell you one other story here this morning that just absolutely has been so horrendous, and it gets worse because more tapes are coming out with more doctors with Planned Parenthood talking about the absolute inhumane attitude towards babies. Well, now Planned Parenthood is trying and, quite frankly, failing to explain their inhumane attitude. It's so disgusting and vile that it brought tears to my eyes, and I'm unashamed about that. to sit there and listen to these doctors, and I use that term so loosely, talk about killing and aborting the babies in a fashion that the organs could be preserved for sale. It just... I'm sorry, folks, I can't handle that. And you know, in this country, we spend with the liberal lefties and their stupid causes. Oh, animal rights, animal rights, animal rights. Oh, the environment. We got to save the environment. And oh, global warming, global warming. What about unborn human beings? What about babies that are ready to enter the world being killed? Where is the outcry from this stupid liberal left? Where's the outcry? Where is the, oh, this is carnage? Where's the outcry? There isn't any. They are more concerned that a gorilla might have any kind of human tendencies. Oh, well, we've got to stop this. We've got to get them out of zoos and everything else. They're more concerned about the environment. Oh, don't cut that tree down. Oh, no. They're more concerned about global warming, which is a falsehood from the word go. Oh, but killing babies is all right. What kind of an absolutely insane world are we living in? I got to take a little break for about 6 minutes. I'll be back. Zeb at the Ranch, don't go away. Welcome back, hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch on a Thursday, and thank you very much to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, and they include, of course, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, and our friends at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch, and on Thursdays all day long, any size fountain drink, just 50 cents. Yeah, buddy! Valleywide Home and Ranch in Rupert. Oh my goodness. And by the way, let me see here real quick. I want to remind you that our good friend Doug Martin is moving. Yep. Moving, and should be moved by possibly towards the end of August. He's going to be moving Ted's Diesel and Electric to a new location at 635 21st Street in Heyburn. That's on Alfresco Road. Let me say that again without biting my tongue. Alfresco Road. And Doug, and he can rebuild all your starters, alternators, generators, everything from lawnmowers to locomotives. And he sells brand new too. Ted's Diesel and Electric, moving 635 21st Street in Heyburn. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated, but right now, first and foremost, I've got to get this good word in here, and I want to remind everybody about our dear friends at Hanson Mortuary. Oh, my. Joel Heward and his staff and Hanson Mortuary, they are so committed to serving the public and serving the friends and families of this area. And when there's the passing of a loved one, they are there when you need them. They're only a phone call away. Call them at 436-5636, and they always serve you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please remember Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. That number again, 436-5636. Oh, and every day we start the program, pardon me for choking in your ear, that was not nice. I want to remind you about our friends at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Oh, my goodness sakes, they have everything there to make your house a home. That's right. And don't forget, they're going to have that great big community garage sale on August the 8th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Call for your space right now, 678-6945. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Right now, let's look for Kay Cameron, director of the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Where is she?
I do not know, sir.
Oh.
She hasn't called in, but I can try.
Would you try calling over there for me real quick?
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks. You scared me, Wheels. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. On our busiest day of the week with about 973 different segments, we got to keep rocking and rolling, and hopefully Kay will call in or we can get a hold of her right away. Don't forget the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo coming up August 4th through the 8th. It's going to be ripping good fun for everybody. Actually, it starts on the 3rd, Monday the 3rd, with a great big 4-H horse show at 8:30 in the morning. And then on Tuesday the 4th all the way through the 6th, they've got the PRCA Rodeo, along with all the 4-H and FFA activities. And then, of course, on Friday, August 7th, they're going to have pig wrestling and a tug of war at 7 o'clock. And then on the 8th, they're going to have that big monster truck show in the arena at the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo coming up August 3rd through the 8th at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. Boy, they have fun. Let's check with Wheels and see if we found Kay Cameron.
I'm getting through to her.
That a boy. Old Wheels doing a good job over at the station. Excuse me. And calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Once again, an Iranian-American pastor who used to be with Islam is now changed and converted to Christianity is going to be speaking in Twin Falls next Monday at the Canyon View Baptist Church in Filer at 7 p.m. And then the next day on Tuesday next week at the Eastside Baptist Church in Twin Falls at 7 p.m. Should be extremely informative, and try to attend either one of those meetings on Monday or Tuesday. Wheels, have we got her?
No, sir. The secretary says that she is not in today.
Oh, well, how wonderful. Evidently, we're not going to have our chamber report this morning with Kay Cameron, and that's unfortunate. I was looking forward to having her explain some of the great ideas and events that are going to be coming up. So we will take some extra calls right now. Give us a jingle on the landline at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What did you think about the great big hubbub about Planned Parenthood? What did you think about the videos? What did you think about the total, calloused, inhumane attitude of these doctors? Do you feel like I do that it's time to shut the doors on Planned Parenthood? It's time to stop the funding of our money, your money, my money, everybody's money, in the term of millions and millions of dollars a year to a very heinous activity. The way these abortions are handled and the body parts and everything, it was so gross and so grotesque. It's time to shut them down. What are your thoughts about Planned Parenthood? I'd really like to hear them. Give me a call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, Steve, I was calling a guy I do business with. His name's Steve. Zeb, in 2013 in the city of New York, there were 29,000 babies murdered, black babies, and 24,000 that lived. Now, how many of those were done by Planned Parenthood, I don't know. But when they talk, Martin O'Malley talks about all lives matter and he gets booed down, when black leaders talk about how they're being, oppressed. But when people murder their own babies, I don't know who's oppressing who. And since Roe versus Wade, 1973, there are 37% less black people in America because of this. Now, these are facts I can prove. So it's amazing to think that the numbers are so astounding that if Planned Parenthood is involved in any way, shape, or form with any kind of partial birth abortion, which is illegal, selling of baby parts, you say to yourself, these people, if we can get our elected officials to do nothing more, maybe we could get them to stop funding this disaster.
First of all, I want you to spell a word for me, okay? Spell the word Zeb.
What is it?
Spell the word Zeb.
Oh, Oh, Zeb.
Yes.
Sorry.
That's all right. You can send me a check, cash, or money order. That's fine.
Sorry, Zeb.
That's all right. Hey, listen, Randy, in all seriousness.
Steve, and then I just got on the phone with you, and it was just a spaz.
No, that's all right. Listen, I want to ask you this. Planned Parenthood, and there are a lot of people that are going to criticize me, but I will say this, and I want to get your response. They have turned birth control into the inhumane killing of babies. That is now, it's not Planned Parenthood. It's not anything to do with the health or endangerment of the mother. It's basically turned into a birth control device, and I find this to be so satanic and devious. What are your thoughts?
I want to tell you something. Margaret Sanger, who started Planned Parenthood, and if you have doubt about my resources, then go figure it out for yourself, people. Hitler and her were connected at the hip. She wanted to get rid of black people and any other race. She was an Aryan. She was a white supremacist, and she was a murderer. And this is how Planned Parenthood got started. And I tell you what, what they're doing, and I guess there's more videos coming.
Yes.
They're going to try to let this thing drift into the back.
Mm-hmm.
And but I don't think it's going to happen. And I think doing away with Planned Parenthood would be a great thing for all of us across America.
Let me just say this, and I mentioned it last hour, and the phone lines are open right now, but don't you agree with me that in this loony, liberal, left society that we're living in, they care more for animal rights, they care more for the environment, and they claim they care more for the false global warming than they do about unborn human beings?
Let me tell you something, Zeb. In some cases, these people believe, the elitists, I know this isn't Planned Parenthood, but you see, this all comes from the same source, that they believe that 500 million people is all that the earth can sustain.
Yeah.
500 million.
Yeah.
And killing any way, shape, or form is what they intend to do. And if it means getting rid of, it don't matter who, what color, who they are. It's just amazing.
Well, wait a minute. You've kind of solved the problem. If they're so convicted in having less humans on the world, let's start having a lottery number with their name on it.
Well, of course, but don't you see that when you run the show, you're the elitist who knows better, that you can no way be the one who's taken.
Absolutely.
You see, and if you're a useful idiot like the media and everybody that defends everything that Obama does, then they think that somehow or other they're going to end up on the side that runs the show. I
do not want one single dollar. I don't want one bronze penny sent to Planned Parenthood out of my tax dollars.
Well, let me tell you something. There's a Planned Parenthood in Twin. And, we need to, I don't know how this is all going to play out, but between the Refugee Center and Planned Parenthood, it's a start.
Yeah, absolutely. Randy, I do appreciate it. Let me introduce myself. I'm Zeb Bell. Stop by sometime. I'll shake your hand.
Sorry, Zeb.
All right, buddy.
I know how to spell it. Z-E-B.
Thanks, Randy. God bless. Have a good day. All right, thanks. Oh, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I find this to be just so absolutely ridiculous in the world today. There are your left loonies that are so concerned about, we've got to save the whales. Why, the ice is melting. Oh, no, it's not, by the way. That's a very big lie. Oh, the environment, my goodness sakes, we're burning up. No, as a matter of fact, we're not and haven't been any warmer. We've got a lot cooler in the last 19 years. Those are the facts. Those are the facts. But yet, where is the caring for a human baby? God help us all. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, as long as we have got who we've got,
over the finances of our government and in our Congress. Nothing's going to change.
You know, Helen, let me stop you there for a minute, Helen. What you said needs to have elaboration. I do not understand how stupid, and I'm going to say this, how stupid people can be thinking that we're going to get back on track if they elect Hillary Clinton. It's going to be a train going downhill off the tracks into an abyss. It's going to get worse than ever.
Well, not only that, but if they get in
Jeb Bush?
Not going to be a darn bit different.
I agree with you. I don't want to see either one of them as the final nominees of each party. Absolutely not.
I called Simpson's office, and I says, you give this to him verbatim. I says, I would like to stand in the corner when you stand in front of all of these people, babies, that you have murdered, and you give them the reason why.
I commend you for calling. I commend you for sharing your feelings with our elected officials. I wish more people would get involved like you and your husband do. And Helen, I know you're a very sincere lady, and I love you for it. Thank you so much. I got to do a commercial. Thank you so much. God bless. Don't forget, let's ride Highway 24, actually 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn, where the fun is sold. Oh, the other day I did the spot, and a guy called me later on my cell phone. He said, oh, they've got all the watercraft over there, right? And I said, yeah. Well, he said, I'm going over. It's warm, and I want to hit the rivers and the lakes or a big puddle of water. I said, have fun. You're using my words. He said, I will. All right, so he went over to Let's Ride and checked it out. Along with all the four-wheel ATVs. They've got ATVs all over the place over there, and they've got a great accessory department and a super service department, too. Where? At Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn, yep, where the fun is sold. Oh, and by the way, you know I lost that commercial. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. We want to remind you to stop in and see our dear friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Oh, they're good. They're good. They can help you with life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more. They're very accessible and devoted to serving you. All you have to do is call and make an appointment today at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really good folks. Oh, man. Who left the door open? All these dogs got out. Where are they coming from? All right, I think I know who let the dogs out or let them in or is feeding them gravy train or whatever, and that's Officer Ken Mort with Minidoka Animal Control. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Have you been singing lately?
I do every Friday night.
Where?
Well, I do a show at the Blue Room on Friday night.
At the Blue Room?
Yep.
Isn't that where Frank Sinatra used to sing in New York?
That's a good possibility.
Can you do a Sinatra song?
I never tried one.
What about New York, New York?
Well, I might be able to do that one.
All right, next Thursday on the show, I want you to do a little karaoke, New York, New York by Frank Sinatra.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Yes, we'll probably all get shot. Anyway, what's going on with Minidoka Animal Control?
Well, today I want to feature Roger.
Roger?
Yep, he is a Lab Shepherd Boxer Cross. He's 10 months old, loves people, is okay with other dogs and okay on a leash. He was an owner surrender because he was just way too hyper with young kids that they had. Plus, they also lived in an area where they can only have 2 dogs, and they had 3, so they had to give one up. And he does need consistent training and attention, but will make a great family dog, especially once he is neutered. It should calm him down some.
Well, why wouldn't it?
Exactly. But yeah, he's a very fun-loving dog, and if anybody's interested in him, they can contact us at 438-2200 or can call me on my cell phone at 670-7268.
Okay, now what kind of a dog is Roger again?
He is a Lab Shepherd Boxer Cross.
Now, I'm having a hard time trying to figure that out in my mind.
Well, he looks more lab.
Uh-huh.
But when you see him in person, you can actually see a little bit of the shepherd and boxer in him, in his coloring and his build.
Oh, okay. All right. And poor Roger is looking for a very nice home.
Yes, he is. I mean, he'd make, like I say, he'd make a great family dog, and that just needs a little bit of training and some good TLC and get neutered, and he'd be great.
You were doing great for old Roger until that one part, and I could see him just go to the back of the cage.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Okay, what else is going on besides old Roger?
Well, we are getting closer to being able to get moved. Just waiting right now on that for the kennels to be finished. We should have those. They should be finished probably next week, which then I'll go on that probably the first week of August down to pick them up. And we've got here within the next day or so and stuff, and that we should be receiving our matching funds check from Modern Woodman on that for the fundraiser we did, so that we'll be able to have all the money to take care of getting them paid for.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we get that all taken care of and we get the kennel set up, we're actually going to hold an open house and little ribbon cutting ceremony on that once we're set up over there. Well, I should say once we've got the kennel set up on that, and then once we've done that, then we'll actually start moving over to that new location.
Wow, you have been busy, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And I got to toot your horn a little bit. You've done such a great job for the dogs, and you've done such a great job for the Minidoka Animal Shelter and everything. I salute you, my friend, because, man, the work and the effort you put in, along with singing a great tune, you are a good old boy.
I appreciate it, and I do my best.
Well, now, tell us something. I got a question for you. Is it a law that all dogs, regardless of where they reside, on the farm, on the ranch, at home, in town, whatever, all dogs are supposed to have a dog license with identification?
Yes. Matter of fact, the state of Idaho has a law on that whether you live in the city or county, on that, no matter where you live in the state of Idaho, all dogs over the age of 6 months are required to have a collar and license. A lot of people think that license is just something you can go buy in Walmart at the little kiosk machine that they've got that puts their name and address and phone number and stuff on there. That is not correct. The correct license is either purchased through the county or through the cities. For instance, Minidoka County, where we're a joint powers area, we have one license that covers the county and cities. Basically, it says Minidoka County on it, has a number, which I've created a database where we track these numbers and stuff in it on these dog licenses. So if I pick up a dog on that, I can go to that license number. It gives me the owner's name, address, and contact information, plus the dog's name and everything about the dog.
Yeah, but wait a minute, right there. That doesn't happen in all cases. That's why I brought it up. I mean, a lot of times you're just absolutely shooting in the dark because they don't have that information.
Exactly, and by the law and stuff and that, I can actually issue a citation. If you live in Minidoka County and you do not have a license, an actual county license, or, for instance, Hayburn and stuff and that, they're not for their joint powers yet, and they have their own licenses. But if you have a dog that does not have the license on it, and that's purchased through the city or the counties, and I can actually issue you an infraction citation, which runs about $82.50.
And well, you should. I mean, your job is exacerbated because people haven't taken the time or the integrity to do what they should as responsible dog owners.
Exactly. I mean, and at least with them having a license, and the first time the dog gets out, I pick the dog up, it's got a license, I'm going to take it home, and I'm going to give the people a verbal warning. If it happens again, then you're going to wind up getting a citation for dog at large.
Mm-hmm.
But I would rather be able to get the dog to his home and everything, than having to take it into the facility, hope that somebody and stuff in that contacts us looking for their furry friend, and trying to get it home that way. If it's got a license on it, I can get it home.
You know, I think we should hit this more often on this program, responsible pet ownership. It's not the dog's fault. It's not the fault of anybody but the owner. And I would say, tell me if I'm wrong, 90% of the cases, it's probably irresponsible dog ownership.
More than likely it is. I mean, I believe that 110%. I mean, because my dogs and stuff and that, they've got licenses. Annette, I've got a fenced-in yard that they stay in. I mean, I can leave my gate open, Annette, and I've trained them and stuff, Annette, well enough that I can leave the gate open, and they will not go out that gate.
Mm-hmm.
I can open the front door on my house, Annette, because they've got a dog door on the back of the house to go in and out. I leave my front door open, and they will not go out that front door.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
Unless they're on a leash and wanting to go for a walk or go for a ride in the car.
Well, all I can say is you've done a tremendous job. I've enjoyed having you on this program and look forward to the future. Officer Ken Mort, Minidoka Animal Control. Real quick, I've only got 30 seconds left. Roger needs a home.
Yes, he does. And if anybody's interested in Roger, which is a Lab Shepherd Boxer Cross, 10 months old, Annette, they can contact us at 438-2200 or 670-7268.
Hey, take care, buddy. Have a good week.
You too, Zeb.
All right. Where'd all these dogs come from anyway?
Let the dogs out!
Oh, yeah. Ken Moore, good friend of ours. Minidoka Animal Control. Thank you so much. Hey, by the way, don't forget the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo is going on all the way through this week. And tonight at 7 p.m., they're going to have that ranch rodeo. You're going to see some real live buckaroos the way things are done on the ranch. And all the contests going to be a fun time, 7 p.m. tonight. And tomorrow, they're going to have the 4-H and FFA beef show along with the start of the IMPRA rodeo tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And then on Saturday, the big 4-H FFA market animal sale, and then again at 8 p.m., the IMPRA rodeo. All of this, excuse me, with the frog in my throat, at the Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo, going all the way through Saturday up in Shoshone. Hello, Rita Ramsey. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. I thought about pranking you and not answering, so you'd wonder if I didn't show up, too.
Rita, don't do it to me.
Okay.
You know, there is nothing worse in live radio than you think that somebody's going to be there and all of a sudden they're not, and you feel real lonesome all of a sudden.
I can imagine.
Hey, I've got to ask you this, Rita, and this is a very serious subject and one that I emotionally have a hard time getting through. But over the course of the last week, the absolutely disgusting and so inhumane attitude from Planned Parenthood and the abortion of babies to save certain body parts for sale, it's so disgusting, I have a hard time talking about it. What are your thoughts?
This is just absolutely horrible. And the thing of it is this is only the beginning, because if the truth were known, we would find out that there's a lot of other things that, I mean, this isn't just the first, all of a sudden they decided they would do this and this would be lucrative for them. This is part of a plan. This is part of a way of cashing in. It's all about money. And then Randy mentioned a little bit about it being, maybe part of the bigger plan, which I think it actually is. But, I was just reading an article that there was it's 34 years ago, Father John Powell captured the enormity of the desensitization of a population in abortion, the silent Holocaust. It played out in the movie Judgment at Nuremberg. And they talked about how Hitler very first started up, and there was a German couple on the street and said, "Did you know about it?" And the wife stumbled, and she answered, citing a few good things about Hitler and the new prosperity and jobs, the Autobahn, and then she said, "We didn't know anything about this." And then they asked about, well, what about the concentration camp at Auschwitz, and what went wrong? And the ovens were built not to kill Jews; they were built to eliminate that which was not useful. Well, what was not useful? Well, the things that weren't useful were retarded children.
Oh, my goodness sakes.
And those kinds of things, they were ripped from sobbing nuns and carted off to ovens. And you know where it went from there? All of a sudden then, the Jews aren't useful anymore. And so they started with that. But this is what happens, is that you get something a little bit, and it just, a little bit of encroachment, and pretty soon it's inside the door, and it's a great big thing. And one of my questions to those ladies that they have been asking is the IRS targeting them to find out if they've been receiving money on the sides themselves?
Rita, I don't want one single penny to go to Planned Parenthood from this moment on. None. Not one taxpayer dollar or cent to go to them. I find this one of the most disgusting stories that I have ever covered. When I sat and watched in its entirety the tapes of these doctors so callously talking about killing these babies, and I mentioned it last hour, and it is the truth. The loony, stupid, liberal left in this country, they care more for animal rights, the environment, and everything else except human babies. What in the world has happened to us as a civilized society?
Well, we've become desensitized, and just proof of that is when you have some of these liberal people who are interviewing, and they'll start asking stuff, or they'll say, well, and this happened actually last night. I knew she was going to say it, but out of her mouth came the very words, well, these were just a bunch of right-wing people trying to catch somebody in something, and it's just right-wing, and it doesn't have any, it's kind of like, okay, you just skirted what happened.
Right.
It shouldn't matter who took the pictures, or why did it have to be right-wing? Why wasn't it left-wing people saying, this is wrong?
I don't know how to cure the ills of this country. I don't know how to cure the insanity and the insensitivity of the liberal left. I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm at the end of my rope when I have to sit there with my wife with tears running down our cheeks thinking about these babies that were just absolutely near birth, and they were killed and parts of their bodies were sold off. This is so cannibalistic and so absolutely anti-civilized society. I don't know what to do.
Well, I can tell you the answer to that, but before I do, I want to mention one thing as you're mentioning about those babies, is in that second video, they alluded to the fact that they actually gave the mother $2,000, and they actually let the baby be born, and then they let it die, instead of just killing it just before it was supposed to.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my. I wish now that you'd have never mentioned that, because...
I know, and I'm really sorry about that, but people have got to hear some of these facts before they actually start getting mad enough to do something. Now, this is the answer. The answer is that when I was probably in grade school, they decided to take prayers out of school. And you can't read the Bible, and you can't recite the Bible, and you can't do that. Well, when they started doing that, then it was kind of like, well, we don't have to go by any of the words that the Bible said, into where we've had a big fight over the last 25 years about the Ten Commandments being placed in public places. Well, are those things a religion? No, they're laws that we ought to go by. And just think, if the whole world would just go by the Ten Commandments, what kind of a world would we live in?
Much better. Okay.
We wouldn't have jails. We wouldn't have prisons. We wouldn't have... I mean, there wouldn't be any jealousy. There wouldn't be any killing. There wouldn't be any lying. I mean, just think about it. Those are suggestions on how to have happiness in your life.
No. I take deference to what you just said. They are not suggestions. They are commandments. They're not the 10 suggestions. It never was. God gave those as commandments for us to live as human beings and have a better life. They're not suggestions.
Therefore, the answer to the problem of how do we solve it, we start going by those. We bring God back into the schools. We tell parents, you know what? You need to have some responsibility here. That's the whole thing, is we don't hold anybody accountable for anything. Parents don't need to be accountable for their kids. Kids don't have to have accountability. Teachers can't teach kids about morality and things that are moral. And I'm not just talking about sexual morality. I'm talking about if you're a good person, you're a moral person, and you believe in this, and you're against abortion and killing and some of that bad stuff. I'm talking about all the things that we used to talk about when we were in school in the early ages. A lot of it was a kind of an extension from Sunday school class on Sunday.
Absolutely. Okay, I've got to leave that first topic alone because it just makes me so furious that I just absolutely can't stand to think where this country is headed towards a total incivility towards human beings. I brought up a story this morning that I ran across late last night, and I punched my fist into the bathroom door. I was so mad, thinking that now Seattle Mayor Ed Murray is trying to push with banks and lenders in the Seattle area to give non-interest mortgage loans to Muslims because they, the Muslims, and Sharia law don't abide by interest to be paid. So they're going to possibly create another loan for Muslims, which is discriminatory, and put the public on the hook for the bad debt. Whoa, Rita, you got to tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, in other words, what he's saying is we need to push the Constitution, which is the law of the land, aside.
Yep.
And bow to somebody else. Well, you know what? If I hate to bring this up, but my people of the LDS Church, back in the early days, they had polygamy, and you know what happened to them? They could not go by polygamy. They had to change it. They had to go by the law of the land. And okay, we go by the law of the land, so how is that any different than this? All of a sudden, you've got a group of people who want to come here and change our laws and say, you know what, we just can't go by them. Well, if you can't go by our laws, then go back to a country where you can go by the law that you want to go by. Because this is what we're doing. We are just actually bowing down to a religion that should say, you know what, you're not telling us that we can't actually have our prayers on Friday, or we can't, have prayer time every so often, or any of those kinds of things. But we will go by the law of the land, that being that we will honor it. And they should be willing to do that if they come to our country.
I just can't imagine why the general public, you, me, our listeners, everybody, is an outrage because one word comes into play here. One simple word. Discrimination. Discrimination against everybody else. Did they offer Rita Ramsey and her husband any interest-free loans? Did they offer Zeb Bell and his wife Deanne any interest-free loans? No! Why are we doing it for a certain segment of the population that, quite frankly, I really don't care if they're here or not?
Well, first of all, it makes you wonder why they would come here. We know the answer to that. They're trying to create a caliphate, which means that we all join their religion. And that's what they're actually trying to do. So they get enough people over here, they can take over. And, I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but I heard it in a meeting a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, when we went down about the Syrian refugees. Mm-hmm. And we were reminded that it doesn't take very many people to elect somebody. And so if you get a big society of Muslim people in your area, they're going to elect Muslim Congress or Senate, or even just to start with, your state representatives. And then if they get enough state representatives and they put bills forward, they can do that. And we know that in the Constitution that there is not supposed to be a national religion. Well, the states can have a state religion if they so desire, and it's voted on by all of their their representatives, the majority of them. And so do you see how this can change the thing really quick? This could change it to be, what about Michigan? How many representatives do they need before they've changed over to a Muslim religion for their whole state?
Well, look at Minnesota. Look at Minnesota with already Keith Ellison as a Muslim representative, and it's growing.
This can get totally out of hand, and the Muslim thing, the refugee thing, is a big problem in a lot of states. Tennessee has a big problem with it, and I think maybe it was Arkansas, I'm not sure, but anyway, and then you've got Minnesota and Michigan and a few of those, and now they're sending them out here via the colleges. We'll give you big money if you'll just kind of oversee that. Well, what they're basically trying to do is change Idaho from a red state to a blue state.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
They've already actually changed some of the counties to blue counties. There's one that's bordering Twin Falls County right over there at Gooding. It's changed to a blue county. And it's because they've got a lot of different people from different countries that are kind of like, well, we're kind of hooked up with the government because they offer us the free stuff.
You know, Rita, I've got to do a weather forecast, and then I want to come back and I want to talk to you about the Iranian nuclear deal and what happened yesterday. And I think it's indicative of what I had on my program about a month ago, and I want to ask you some questions about that. Stand by. First of all, the weather's brought to you this hour by Duck Uglies at 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Absolutely a great place to take the family for a delicious meal and really great entertainment. Boy, they've got some pickers and grinners and singers over there you won't believe. Enjoy Friday night specials like the ribeye steak special with shrimp and baked potato and Texas toast. Oh, it's good. And then on Saturday nights, Omar's back with his delicious mouth-watering ribs. Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Here now, the weather.
Here is your weather forecast for today. Looks like partly to mostly cloudy skies. Going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the southwest, right around 11 miles an hour. We do still have a chance of afternoon rain showers or thunderstorms. High of 79 for today. Tonight, low of 55. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Still a little bit on the breezy side. Partly cloudy. High of 81 with an overnight low of 55. For Saturday, sun is going to be shining. Beautiful. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 80s. Lows in the low 50s. Pretty much the same for Sunday as well. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much. And don't forget Duck Uglies. What a great place to go eat. They've hit a home run there. 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. We're on the air with Rita Ramsey. Rita, yesterday, as I'm sure you know, you're kind of a news junkie like I am, 10,000 protesters lined up on Times Square, New York yesterday to protest the idiocy of the Iranian nuclear deal. And here's the part that just blew me away. 77% of Americans that were polled are absolutely against this deal. 77%. And they actually feel like I said a month ago on this program, don't weaken, tighten the screws on the sanctions, make them tougher, make Iran come to the table, make Iran give our hostages back, and then negotiate. It didn't happen that way. And 77% of Americans asked said no, tighten the sanctions and bring them to their knees. Your thoughts?
Well, it's obvious that this president doesn't want to go by the law because everything he's done, he's skirted around the Senate and the Congress. And I had an article here and I was trying to find the exact words, but basically what the words are is that, and by the way, there's kind of a secret side of the deal, and shoot, well, we're not going to let that information out to the press or to the Congress or to anybody. And it's kind of like, okay, so what is in that?
Yeah.
They have made some deals that are really bad, and the deals are so bad that even Saudi Arabia, the media in Saudi Arabia are openly calling for the Persian Gulf Kingdom to use the next decade to develop nuclear weapons.
I'm sorry, I get so mad thinking of Obama and this absolutely criminal administration. Everything is under the table in like a locked, smoke-filled room, and saying something like that. And in saying, well, you can't figure this out, we're going to go ahead and sign it this way. That is totally against our Constitution. It's totally against the transparency that this United States of America was founded on. And I, for one, would love to see us storming down Pennsylvania Avenue to get this man impeached.
Well, and this is what really bugs me. You know, our Congress and Senate should have been headed to Washington on Sunday morning and met with each other and said, we are not going to let the president take this to the UN.
Oh, I agree.
And yet none of them showed up. None of them said something. They've been silent.
Okay, which leads me to the next part of this, and I got about 4.5 minutes left. I said this on this road trip with some friends of mine that I talked to in Utah the other night, and I was absolutely shocked. They totally agree with me that Donald Trump may be a lot of things. He may be kind of a loudmouth. He may be, in some people's eyes, a clown, a buffoon, whatever. But what he did by bringing immigration and illegal aliens and this mess with our open borders to the forefront, he forced the hand of the lackadaisical, spineless GOP. And now they're going after him. And I think Rick Perry, of all people, should keep his mouth shut. He was the loon that stood up at the debate podium last election and couldn't remember his 3 points of interest, and he should be the last person to go after Donald Trump. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that's absolutely right, and I think in the end, Donald Trump, I would be totally surprised if he goes all the way with this, but I would see him maybe towards the end endorsing one of the ones that didn't actually attack him. And, Ted Cruz is about the only one that said something that wasn't derogatory. So, I might not agree with the way he said things, but, let's get going about the issues.
Yeah, but stop right there, though, Rita. Donald Trump called the Steinle family on numerous occasions. Those are the words that the family used, and offered condolences and any aid or assistance, whatever. Obama has yet to call. And what really irks me, and I'm going to be talking about this last hour today, is that he would talk to the likes of Sandra Fluke, a absolutely worthless individual that didn't want to get a job and pay for her own birth control pills. He'd call her and tell her how refreshing it was that she stood up against the insanity of society. And I thought, he'll call her, but he won't call the Steinle family. What kind of a low-life president do we have?
Well, we have one that, like other leaders in past history, have used people as useful idiots, and that's exactly what she was. And that's what the left is, and that's what a lot of the media is. They just keep giving this president a total pass on everything. And I mean, he can go in and do all kinds of things, and nobody's saying anything about it. That thing that he signed last week, which was basically affirmative action in the neighborhoods, and this is going to be a presidential edict because he signed it and said that. How are you going to feel if you're a person who has a $3 million house and you decide you want to sell it and find out that because there aren't enough ethnic or race minorities in your neighborhood, you can't sell it because that one has to be available for the first one that comes along? How are you going to feel as a realtor if you're listing stuff and it's like, man, I could sell this house, and nope, sorry, you have to be a Muslim, or you have to be black, or you have to be Hispanic, or whatever. We've got to integrate all these people in there.
It's lunacy.
And it's just one thing after the other, and by people just complying with it. And this is what our Senate and Congress are doing. The only thing I can figure is he's got them all blackmailed to the point that they're not saying anything. And if that's any different, I'd like to hear from them, is that they're just letting him just do whatever he wants. They should have him up on treason. They should have him up on everything. He's gone against what he swore that he would do over his Quran, and that was to uphold the Constitution. He's gone against that.
We could go on, but I am almost out of time, and I do want to hear what's going on with the Minnecasia Tea Party.
Well, I had mentioned last week that I'm going to try to get that video, and I haven't been able to find it yet on Netflix. I'm hoping it's there, which is Farming in Fear, which is about a farmer back in Virginia that the state and the feds have just come after her, along with the EPA, for one reason after the other. And one of them even started by them citing her that she couldn't let her kids have a slumber party at her house.
Right.
That was actually entertaining on a farm.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I remember when this story broke, and I had an interview with one of the people back there as her neighbors. And I hope you get that video, and please let me know when you do, because this is just another part of the insanity of big government running amok.
Well, it seems like it's big government running amok, and it happens everywhere else. But you know what? We've got the same thing going on over here with these people who had the ninja feds come in with their machine guns and hold them hostage, and then 3 or 4 years later, the EPA comes in and says, you don't have the right amount of, I don't even know what chemical or phosphate or was in their ground. So then they spend $20-some thousand getting that all done. And then they get a fine a year and a half later, which was just the last few months, saying you owe $110,000 to the EPA for fines and stuff, and when they talked to him, they said, well, we complied immediately. Well, no, that was prior to that. We knew that you weren't complicit before, and so this is the fine. They're just in it to try to make nuisances and put people out of business.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all they're trying to do.
Rita, let me know more about that video, and I'll publicize it on my program. Send me a little email or something, and I'll make sure that if you get it, I publicize it, because it's a very interesting story as to what happened. Rita, thank you so much for all the time that you share with us on this program. It means a lot, and you do a really good job. Thank you, and we'll look forward to next week.
Okay, thanks, Zeb. We'll see you.
God bless.
Bye.
Rita Ramsey, and I really enjoy having her on the program. Thank you very much. About this time of the day, on Thursdays, yeah, you're already ahead of me. I know you were jumping on Monopoly board to the squares way around on the other side, and I'm not that far yet. It's time to tell you, if you're hungry and starving to death, I know exactly where you should go. Oh, boy, let's talk about some of these. How about Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley? Have you heard about what they got for breakfast burritos? I got to tell you that, even though it's lunchtime. They've got scrambled eggs, bacon and sausage, and cheese, onions, tomatoes, and a special sauce on a tortilla shell. You will drive 100 miles for that. It is good. And all the different menu choices at a great place to go. Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Oh, let's move up the road a little bit, shall we? How about this one? I'm drooling already. Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. They've got the fresh hand-cut French fries, steak fries. Oh, my goodness. And they've got a kids menu that is fantastic. And Steve-O's nacho fries, topped with cheese and jalapeno peppers. And don't forget, too, the patio's open. And on Friday and Saturday evenings, they got music. And they've got just great conditions out there. And a super menu with nice people at Steve-O's in Hayburn. How about, let's move over to two places, Burgers, etc., 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. Oh, and listen to this. Root beer floats, only 99 cents after 3 p.m. until the end of August. I'll take 10. Whew, I love root beer floats. Delicious burgers and onion rings. And don't forget, at the Burley location on Sunday, shrimp dinners for Mom right after church. Oh, my. Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, in our continuing saga of solving your hunger, stop at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, my goodness, the orange and lemonade freezes, they're good. And the strawberry milkshakes, all the flavors of milkshakes, and the chicken fried steak sandwich. Knock your boots off, delicious. Along with the famous Farmer Brown burgers. Oh, my, you're going to love the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. And those are just a few great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. We are going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back. And next hour, boy, it's a full hour. We've got we've got Cassia County School Days on with Debbie Critchfield. She's going to be our honored guest this morning. And then we're going to talk to old Eli over at Berry Equipment and Rental. And then at 10:30, your gardening questions will be appreciated with Vicky's Country Garden. And I got quite a few that have been sent in to me this morning. And we'll take your calls. And a lot more to go this next hour. So Zeb at the Ranch, and we'll turn it back over to Wheels for CBS News. Oh, pretty day outside. Yes, sirree, July 24th. And we're so glad to be here on the air with... No, did I say 24th? I meant to say 23rd. Pardon me. I looked at the calendar wrong. Don't everybody jump at once. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Valley, and our friends at Valley Wide Home and Ranch. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. And today, Thursday, all day long, any size fountain drink, only 50 cents at Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Oh, by the way, our buddy's moving. Yep, he's packing things up and taking them to a new location. Ted's Diesel and Electric is moving to 635 21st Street in Heyburn on El Fresco Road, owned by Doug Martin, and moving to a new location. And Doug can rebuild starters and alternators and generators and everything from lawnmowers to locomotives, and sells brand new too. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. Ted's Diesel and Electric, moving to 635 21st Street in Heyburn. By the way, the Chadwick Sports Grill. Everybody give me your attention for a minute. I got to put a check mark there and a check mark there. There we go. The Chadwick Sports Grill. There you go, 139 West Main in Burley. Today's special, pork enchiladas, served with Spanish rice and soup or salad. Pork enchiladas. That sounds good. At the Chadwick Sports Grill. Great menu choices and a super special today at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Nice people, great environment. 139 West Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Okay, we got that taken care of, and let's see, what else have I got here real quick? Once again, I want to remind you that next Monday and Tuesday, that Sharam Hadian, who converted to Christianity about 15 years ago from Islam, is going to be speaking about Islam and the dangers. And that's going to be next Monday at the Canyon View Baptist Church in Filer on Monday at 7 p.m. And then I believe over at the Eastside Baptist Church in Twin Falls on Tuesday at 7 p.m. This will be very interesting, and you should try to be in attendance. Don't forget that. Okay, what else have I got to tell you about? County fairs off and running in full swing. We mentioned Lincoln County Fair and Rodeo last hour, and goes through the weekend up in Shoshone. Everybody try to be there. Lots and lots of fun at your county fairs going on around the Magic Valley. We are very appreciative on Thursdays to have a program called Cassia County School Days, and it's sponsored by two wonderful businesses that have really jumped in and helped us on the promotion of this segment, and they are A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and boy, they've got all kinds of things going on for the kids. You better believe it. They've got play outfits starting at just $8, and they have everything for the babies and the toddlers, and you better stop in. They've got all the baptism dresses and 5-piece suits up to size 20 for about $59 at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also the Ambulatory Surgery Center. And if you need arthroscopic surgery or a colonoscopy, these are performed by highly qualified doctors at the Ambulatory Surgery Center on Highland, across from the hospital in Burley, and saving you money. Call 677-8888. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. Which leads me to introduce this lovely lady, Cassia County Schools Communication Officer, Debbie Critchfield. Good morning, Debbie. How are you?
I am well. Good morning, Jack.
What is going on with teachers, not only here in the state of Idaho, but all across the board? You're kind of telling me that, boy, there is a big, big need for certified teachers.
Absolutely. We've, for several years, seen the downward trend of folks that want to go into education on the college end. And as we look at our statistics statewide and nationwide, we see that we're graduating less teachers unless they're coming into the field. And as we look to restore some of these budgets that we've had for teacher salaries, and we're trying to replace teachers that, you know, as they moved on or left or retired or whatever, we've got some money to do that, but now we don't have the people. fill the spots.
Okay, but let me interrupt you right there, Debbie, and ask a kind of a simplified question. Why? I mean, why is it that education is not a field that people want to get into? I mean, we've seen increases, we've seen budget increases, we've seen more opportunity. Why? Why all of a sudden aren't the colleges turning out the top-notch people?
This is probably an oversimplified answer, but I have to think that a lot of it does have to do with the pay. The investment that students make in receiving their degree and their certification, and it is a professional license that they receive through the state. Historically, or at least after the revenue crash 8 years ago or so in our state, we weren't at a place where we could pay teachers very well. And so I don't know if because of that period of time, less students chose that as a profession, and so we're just kind of seeing the end of that now. As you mentioned, we're trying to restore budgets, we're trying to reduce class sizes and try to get teachers back where we want them to be, but we just don't have the numbers. And it's not just a Cassia County thing. I think we've been fairly fortunate that we've had folks choose our district. We're seeing that in neighboring districts. We're seeing it in our neighboring states.
Well, let me ask you this question then. And maybe this is a calloused attitude on my part, and feel free to chastise me and tell me I'm wrong. But are a lot of the new teachers today coming fresh out of college, are they making demands that are really unreal because they're an unproven commodity as of yet, but yet they want the pay scale so much higher? My attitude is when somebody goes to work for me and they're a novice, I want to see what they can do. I want to see how they progress. I want to see how they learn. And then we'll talk about increases in wages.
I wouldn't disagree with that thinking. However, Idaho has a lower starting salary than our neighboring states. And so if you're just coming out of college, and in Idaho, and this is just as of last year, that beginning teachers, first year out of college, first year teaching, they start at a $32,750 yearly wage. And you look at our neighboring states, and they are significantly higher. And so I think some of our teachers go there. And I don't blame a person for wanting to get the most that they can out of their profession and, try to get paid the most. And I hate it for all of it to come down just to the money. But I do think that has been a big factor. And here's an interesting number. I made a call yesterday because I thought, we keep hearing, well, we're not graduating the students out of the colleges of education like we used to. And so did a little research, and I found out that this last spring, if you include the December graduation and the spring graduation, Idaho graduated around 1,300 students in the colleges of education, which might sound like a big number. But when you consider that Cassia employs, around 400 teachers alone, and you multiply that by, larger districts and around the state, there's a real competition to get certified teachers.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say certified, I know that a lot of the audience is going to say, wait a minute, what's a certified teacher different from a regular teacher? What does certified mean?
All teachers that, I guess I shouldn't say all. A certified teacher means that you have taken the coursework on the pre-service end that would enable you to get a teaching license. And so you've gone through the teaching program, and at the completion of that, you've demonstrated not only your knowledge, but your ability through student teaching, and you're not a criminal. And so the state of Idaho says, because of your input into the profession, we're going to put a stamp on a piece of paper that says you are certified to teach in our state. And, what's interesting, and maybe this isn't entirely a bad thing, but due to the fact that we've had such a struggle to find teachers to fill some of our subjects and some of our positions, we've had folks that have been working in industry, for example. Maybe you were really great at something that you did and you had a biology background. And we had, a science position. The state is now working to be pretty flexible with people to get that certification that didn't choose the education route.
I see.
And I think that's actually a benefit to us, to have people that are in industry and have had experience in their field, and then they come back into the classroom through an alternate route of certification. And, students benefit from that.
I'm sitting here, and I would imagine that, if there was a chance that a local farmer was one of the most outstanding farmers raising sugar beets, potatoes, beans, whatever, and he had a chance to teach an ag class, my goodness, he'd be far and above possibly some teacher that was certified.
Absolutely. And CASA, I can't speak for every district, but CASA has been very flexible in trying to help fill these positions in exactly the ways that you're discussing. If someone has shown an interest and if they have a college degree, we can help you on the education certification side.
Okay.
Maneuver that system so that you can be a benefit in the classroom.
All right, we have a caller with a question. Go ahead, caller, please. You're on the air.
Good morning, Debbie. And I notice in the afternoons on K-Bar Radio that there is an awful lot of advertisements for the teaching profession. I want to know if this is a public service or is the district paying for this? What motivation is there to do this advertising?
All right, we'll have her answer that on the air. Go ahead, Debbie, please.
And I hate to say this, but I did not hear a word of the question.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Wheels, make it so that she can hear the three-way call. He basically was asking about advertisements on K-Bar in the afternoon that are asking for teachers to apply or get involved in education, and he wanted to know who was paying for that. Are those public service announcements, or are they paid for perhaps by the State Education Association?
It could be either. I honestly am not sure. And there may be, a sliver of a budget in school districts to promote or advertise positions. I know that as of a week ago, Cassia County, and this includes all positions, whether it's bus drivers, cooks, aides, or whatever, and including teachers, we had about 65 positions that we were still trying to get an interest in. So we always encourage people to go onto our website and, see what's available. Again, I know the bus driver situation, it's pretty bleak. Our bus folks are looking at, they're in a position where they may have to trim some routes and do some reworking to accommodate the lack of drivers.
Let's go back. I want to ask you a little bit more about the colleges. Now, you mentioned in an email that you sent me, and you said, quote, colleges of education are graduating less students in this profession. So I'm making the assumption that you meant nationwide and not just here in the state of Idaho. Is that correct?
Right, it is. Yeah, I know the numbers for Idaho specifically, but we've seen this as a trend nationally. Here's kind of a good analogy, or not analogy, but an example of what I'm talking about. Every spring, we have principals, and it's not just in Cadre, but around the state, that go to job fairs in different states to try to attract the best and the brightest into the district. Hey, you want to come and work for me? This is why. And you try to have these kinds of examples. Well, I know that our principal at Burley High School traveled with the principal at Burley Junior. They went to a job fair in Utah. They needed to attract some math teachers into our area, and there were 2 math teachers in the entire job fair that were, browsing to see, well, what school do I want to work at? It wasn't like, well, 2 came to the booth to talk to our principal.
Right.
There were only 2. And you have 24 schools that are there trying to get, these individuals or try to scramble up some teachers.
Well, what is the problem? Sounds to me like it's with the students themselves going into college and not being sure if they want to have education as their major or whatever. What can be done at the collegiate level to help stimulate more teacher numbers? I mean, it sounds to me like they're shying away from education, and why?
Yeah, that's the magical question. I know that in Idaho, our colleges are trying to streamline requirements so that it doesn't take as long to get through programs. It's not as costly, and there's some other benefits. And certainly we want anyone that graduates from college to be prepared in their field. But we also don't need to make it so difficult that it takes a long time and it's a huge money investment and you've got a lot of student debt. it would be nice just in general. I think that there's been a real vibe over the last few years that education itself as a profession, it wasn't ever at a point where people thought it was an elevated profession. Oh, you're just a teacher. And so there was this undertone of, well, teaching isn't where you want to go. And that's the last profession you'd ever want to choose. And I don't know, again, I don't know if it's a money thing. I don't know if it's just changes in education, preferences. But we're to a point now where we're feeling the pinch. And, we're out there really beating the bush to try to get people to come and try to find folks and what can Kaja or, what can Idaho offer that will keep people in our state and will attract those from other states.
Well, it sounds to me like it's an ongoing problem and worthy of more conversation on this program and others. Debbie, final thoughts. I've got a minute left. Go ahead.
I guess I would just encourage people, if you're interested, if you're in a position where, maybe you had some education background or you think maybe that's something that you'd like to pursue, go to the Kaja Schools website, kajaschools.org, and see what's available, have a conversation with the principal, see, how they could work with you. We have an interest in having our homegrown people here in our classrooms. There's a lot of benefits that come from that, and we just, we want great teachers.
Thank you very much. And she is, of course, the Cassia County Schools Communications Officer, Debbie Critchfield. God bless, Debbie. Thank you for being on the program this morning.
Thank you.
All righty. And, of course, School Days in Cassia County brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley and Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland in Burley. Thank you very much. We're going to go to the phone lines right now, and with us on the telephone and ready to talk about equipment is the man that knows all about equipment, and he's excited like I am because we are just weeks away from the preseason of the NFL with the Green Bay Packers. Good morning, Eli at Berry Equipment and Rental. How are you?
Good, Zeb. How are you this morning?
Not too bad. Let's talk a little football first. What do you think about the Packers' chances this year, real quick?
I think they're good. I think they're real good.
Okay. Well, we're
healthy. Rodgers is healthy. Look out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Wear the green and gold, and I'll tell you what, that's what you ought to do is adopt the green and gold colors for the company, Berry Equipment and Rental. There you go.
Too bad there's too much orange and white, huh?
Okay. Listen, what's going on over there at Berry Equipment and Rental? I've always said that you have all the equipment to get any job done right, and the Bobcats and everything else. Tell us what you want to visit with this morning.
I'd like to talk about Bobcat right now. I've got a big selection of skid steers and compact track loaders, excavators. I've got new and used, great financing and benefits for new buyers. So lots of good stuff happening with Bobcat right now.
How hard is it for people that have never driven one or used one? How hard is it to learn how to use this equipment?
It's easy. There's 3 different control patterns. We just get you into the one you're going to be the most comfortable with, and then you're off and moving.
Okay, and you'll take the time at all 3 locations of Berry Equipment and Rental when people come in with questions to really help solve this so that when they get home with that equipment, they're ready to go.
Absolutely. Whether it's a rental or a sale, my guys will run them through whatever they need to know how to operate the machinery correctly and safely. That way they can get their job done and we can get our piece back in good shape. So,
all right.
Training is important to us.
Well, now let's talk a little bit about the locations, because you've got all the equipment for any job necessary, and you've got Twin Falls, Addison Avenue West, South Lincoln, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Boy, I mean, who organizes what equipment is going to be where and how much of it?
Well, it's a team effort. We've got good managers in every location. They work together, and we juggle stuff for reservations and sales. Whatever it takes, we'll get it done.
Now, you're more than just an equipment rental store. You're also a full-service company. Tell us a little bit about that.
We take a lot of pride in servicing what we sell. So if you buy a Bobcat or a Doosan loader from us, or even a Coyote tractor, my technicians are certified in all of them, and we're your service house, parts and service house as well.
All right, now you put in a lot of hours, and what are the hours of the stores here in the Magic Valley?
We're open 7:30 to 5:30 through the week and 8 to 5 on Saturday.
Okay. And I also, right now, I also want to mention the Walker mowers. I mean, you have got the creme de la creme of mowers with the Walker mowers. And, boy, if you ever used one, you'll never use another.
That is true. Walker offers the best cut and mobility of any mower on the market. If you haven't tried one, strongly recommend it. We've got options that they start out about $6,000. We have financing options. They're spendy, but they're worth every penny.
And also, I don't want to let you go without talking a little bit about those Doosan loaders. Man, they are a great machine to get the job done in a hurry.
They really have been. The response we've gotten in the last 18 months has been phenomenal. Sold a handful of them. We're quoting them out every day and pushing them really hard. Techs are all trained up and ready to work on them. The response we've had is good, and the machines are holding up really well, as we'd expect.
All right.
You're getting an A-quality machine there.
You know, tell us, too, the 3 locations, very accessible for Magic Valley. And if they have any questions, the numbers to call. Eli, give us the whole guacamole right there, would you please?
So up in the North Jerome, it's 324 rent 7368. Burley's 678 rent 7368, and Twin Falls is 732-7368.
And there's always going to be somebody there qualified to give you the information you need, correct?
That is correct. We staff heavily and with experience.
And besides that, they're really nice people at Berry Equipment and Rental, 3 locations, Twin Falls, Jerome, and Burley. Eli, God bless you, man. Have a great week.
Thank you, Zeb. Same to you.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Oh, man, I tell you, they're good folks at Berry Equipment and Rental. We're very proud to have them be a part of our program here at Zeb at the Ranch. Okay, we're going to send it back in just a moment to our main studios over with Wheels and the rest of the crew, and we'll have our bottom of the hour announcements, and then we'll come back in just a few moments with Vicky's Country Garden and the show named after me, Gardening for Idiots. And I'm learning. We've got quite a few questions, and then also we invite questions about your gardening, your landscaping, etc. And you can call us right here on the air at 436-2244. So right now, without further ado, we'll send it back over to Wheels. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thank you very much. Here we are back in the saddle again for the last half hour, and it's time for Gardening for Idiots. And that's, of course, brought to you by Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. And the number to call, 438-5663. And right now, the lovely Miss Vicky, good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How are we doing today?
Oh, how could you be anything but fantabulous on a beautiful July day like this?
It is. It's nice. The sun's out. The wind's not blowing. And so far, we don't have any rain clouds coming at us.
You know, that's a question right there. Has the change in the weather with, it was really hot for a long time and we didn't get hardly any moisture, and now it's been the opposite. You know, we've had a lot of the late afternoon thunder showers. How has that changed the gardening?
I think it's just, as far as the gardens go, I think it's really helped the gardens. The cooler weather, the nice rain, because the rain always puts a little extra nitrogen down onto the plants. They get a little foliar feed with the rain. As long as we don't get those little white hard pellets that come down, we're doing good.
Well, now, I had a question for you, Miss Vicky, and I want to try to read this in the way it was intended. And this lady writes in and says, my spring flowering bushes were very late this year in blooming. Most of them are just finishing blooming. Is it too late in the year to trim the bushes?
Not really, like forsythia and that, if that's what she's talking about. You want to trim them now, right after they bloom, so that they can get their new growth back on, because that's where you'll have your flowers. You don't want to trim on your spring flowering bushes late in the fall, because you'll cut off all the blooms for next year. So as soon as they're done blooming, this is the time to trim them.
Okay. Now another.
Usually it's earlier, but they are later. But don't go much later on forsythia than now, because you want enough months for them to get the new growth coming on, so that you've got lots of flowers for next year.
Now I have a dumb question to ask you, straight from me, okay?
Okay.
Who was the mad scientist or agronomist or whatever, horticulturist, that came up with all these weird names for these flowers?
Well, I wondered that myself. I just think whoever it was had an awful lot of time on his hands.
He needed to take a night off and go out on the town.
I think so, yes. You needed to do something, because there's some of these flowers and some of these plants that have got the strangest names to them. It's just like, they don't even make sense, but they are what they are, and he got paid a lot of money for that, so I guess we better appreciate it.
But forsythia, how could you look at a flower and all of a sudden conjure up in your mind forsythia?
I have no clue.
You're Vicky's Country Garden. You're supposed to know this.
Yeah, really. It's kind of like pansies. Why would you call those pansies when they're, when the terminology for pansy is, a weakling type thing, and they're not a weak plant by any means. That's what I say. I have no clue, unless it's must have something to do with the Greek form of things, to where they come up with some of those names. I don't know, because they definitely have some dandy ones, that's for sure.
Oh my good. And peonia or peony or whatever way you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, spireas, and you think that should be a spiral something. Well, it's not. It's just a bush. So there's all kinds of I guess choke cherries, though. I guess probably somebody choked on one of them, don't you imagine?
Well, yeah, and then probably at the end of the day, when the guy was really tired, all of a sudden it hit him, let's just call this a rose and be done with it.
There you go. But I'm sure he's a multimillionaire, and we aren't, and we probably wish we could have done what he did.
All right, well, now here's another question that came in, Vicki, and this lady writes, can I just turn on the sprinklers to water the plants? Water shouldn't hurt the foliage, should it?
You don't want to do that during the heat of the day when the sun's out. You can sun-scald fruits and vegetables, and you can get kind of a sunburn on the leaves. It's better to do that like an early morning, so that they have, they can dry, and then, the sun hits them early morning or late evenings. But the sprinklers everybody sprinkles gardens, fields, everything, You're going to get a little bit of knockdown on some foliage and on your flowers. If you're taking flowers to the fair, I would not sprinkle flowers, because it can bruise petals on the flowers. You're better off to water on the ground if you're taking flowers and that to the fair.
Now that is a question right there I've got. How in the world do people take those flowers to the fair without having them wilt before they're judged?
You pick them, you do them first thing, you do them in the cool of the morning, and you have some nice, you do a nice fresh cut on them and put them immediately into nice cool water, and keep them fresh that way. You don't pick them the night before. You pick them, you try to cut them the morning of the show. Usually they judge fairly early. You keep them as cool as you can, out of the sun, that type of thing, and take them in as fresh as possible.
Okay, now, have you ever judged flowers?
Yes, I have.
How do you judge a flower?
You look for petal content. You look for any kind of a flaw in the petals or on the leaves. When you're picking your flowers, you want to look at them, make sure there is no holes in the leaves, no damage to the leaf, that you've got a full open flower. If it's a multi-stemmed flower, you want a full open flower, a partially open flower, and a bud.
Holy cow. I am witnessing a education makeover for me, because I didn't know that you were a judge of flowers. You really know your stuff.
I judged the Burley Flower Show for about 3 years.
Oh my goodness sakes. And do judges have a difference of opinion as to...
Yes.
They do.
It's just like in anything else. It's one person's opinion. I mean, and it's really hard. You have so many pretty flowers, so many nice things, and you have to literally search and look for that flaw in a flower. You have to look for that spot on a leaf or that spot on a petal or something, because flowers are so pretty. You can't judge on prettiness. You have to judge on perfection of the bloom, of the petals, of the leaves, of the stem. I mean, the whole bit. You have to really get down and ugly about things sometimes, because you've got so many things that are so equal in variety, and that you have to literally look for any kind of a flaw in that flower that you can find.
Holy smokes. I mean, you could really burn your eyes out staring at those flowers all day long, couldn't you?
Yeah, and you can really make people mad, too.
Oh, so judging flowers is a lot like judging horses.
It is. I mean, it's like, why didn't you like my flower? And it's like, I didn't know it was yours, and it had this and this and this wrong with it, and it can get kind of bad.
Why, it's a shame to think that you could get sent to the hospital by a peony grower.
That's true. Some of these ladies take it very seriously, just like horse breeders do. They take their stuff very, very serious, and you have to be as diplomatic as you can be, and just one man's opinion. Again, there you are.
Oh, my goodness. I have one more question left for you today, and this lady writes in and says, does mulch help keep plants moist?
Yes, it does. And in your gardens, a lot of people will take and use grass clippings along the rows of their plants to hold the moisture down. And then in the fall, when you till that in, it breaks down for compost-type situations. But yes, mulch does keep the moisture. It helps with moisture. You can even use the decorative rock, and it keeps that sun from hitting that direct soil, and it holds that moisture in.
Oh, okay. Now it is time for Vicky's Tip of the Week.
Okay, well, right now, everybody is probably starting to really reap the benefits of their garden. The cucumbers are setting on, the squashes, the zucchinis, everything. Well, you got to remember that as those plants get bigger and start setting all that fruit on and the vegetables on, you have to increase your water a little bit because a lot, like your cucumbers, they require a lot of water to keep them sweet. The radishes, the watermelons require a lot of water because they're called watermelons. They have to have a lot of water to grow to produce those big watermelons. Corn is needing a lot of water right now. It's a real water hog right now. It requires a lot of water to keep corn growing. Plus, corn needs its little side dress of fertilizer about now. So just don't increase a lot, but keep your gardens nice and moist now, so those plants have got plenty of moisture to produce all those good vegetables and fruits.
All right. Now, Vicki, tell us a little bit about what's going on over there at Vicky's Country Garden. Any specials going on that you want to mention?
Well, we basically have got the same specials. We're just kind of working through our shrubs with specials, on those. Right now it's kind of slow, so we've still got a lot of the river rock and all that type of stuff in to do the landscaping and things like that. But I'm sure, everybody, right now it's kind of slow. Everybody's gearing up. The Minidoka County Fair starts on Monday. Then, of course, Cassia Fair is right after that. So everybody's kind of getting ready for fair and kind of slowing down here, but we've got lots of stuff that we can make you a pretty good deal on, whatever, if you're needing some product and things like that.
Well, I was going to mention real quick, too, before we go, that, summer is going by so fast, and if people want to do a lot of landscaping and everything, this is the perfect time to get ready so they can enjoy it in the fall.
Oh, yeah, if people think it's not a good time to plant, it is, as long as you're not going to plant those plants and leave on a 3-week vacation.
Right.
And you want to be able to be home and take care of them because they are going to require watering, and don't expect a neighbor kid to remember to water everything. I've had probably about 3 times a week I have somebody come in and say, I had the neighbor kid watering my stuff and he kind of forgot. It kind of died. So you kind of want to figure out a time frame if you're going to do some planting and things like that, that you're going to be home so that you can take care of it and watch it and that type of thing. But it's still a good time to plant.
Okay.
The trees and stuff go in fine now, so there's no reason not to plant.
All right. Now, let me ask you this. Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. What hours are you open?
We are open from 9 to 5 on Monday through Friday, and Saturdays we're from 10 to 3, and then we're closed on Sundays.
Okay.
But if those hours don't work, just call and make arrangements. If you're needing bark or rock or something like that loaded, to do a project early in the morning, just let me know, and I'll be glad to stay and wait for you and work it out. And so we don't want anybody not to be able to shovel bark or rock.
Okay. Now, last but not least, now that I know that you are known as Judge Vicky, give us the funniest thing that ever happened while you were judging flowers.
Well, probably one of them was, you're not supposed to know who the people are. You're supposed to have the names are supposed to be underneath, so you're not looking, so you don't know whose flowers you're judging. And I was judging, and this one little elderly lady, I judged her flower a little bit different than she. And she says, "Why don't you like my flowers?"
I love that.
She was doing the clerking of the show, and then she jumped me about that right there in front of everybody. And it was kind of funny and kind of embarrassing at the same time.
And what was your response to her?
If I remember right, I just said, "I'm sorry, but you have got some damaged leaves on these, and I think you know that as well as I do."
That a girl.
And kind of backed up on it, but yeah, it was kind of cute the way she said, "Why don't you like my flowers? Why'd you give them a red ribbon?"
Oh my!
I'm not supposed to know you.
Hey, we have a caller with a quick question. Vicky, stand by. Caller, go ahead, please.
Yes, I'd like to know if Vicky knows what's wrong with my eggplants. They're as big as poplar trees, and the blossoms just keep falling off of them.
Okay, we'll have her answer that on the air. Go ahead, Vicky.
They're like any other vegetable, like tomatoes and stuff. Sometimes you don't get the pollination going. You might want to try some tomato and vegetable set on them, then spray the blossoms, hold them on the plant until they can get pollinized.
Okay.
And it'll hold them on until they can set fruit. Sometimes you'll get plants that will, especially the first few blossoms, will come on and dry up and fall off. But that's what your tomato and blossom set is for. It'll hold them on, it'll pollinate. It helps with pollination and helps setting fruit on.
Absolutely great answer. Thank you very much. Now she's going to be known as Judge Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South 600 West of Paul. Number to call 438-5663. Vicky, thanks. Great program. Talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, Zeb.
Take care. Thank you. Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden. Really, really a nice lady. Oh, my goodness, it's time for the weather. Actually, I'm running late, as usual. And then after the weather, we'll take some more phone calls, so give me a jingle. Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Your hometown meat cutter, changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. And they guarantee everything they sell. They've got a hot summer barbecue special for just $199, total of 50 pounds of meat, and you get ribeye steaks and New York strips and ground beef, sirloin tips, pork chops. Oh my goodness, it's great at Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. And now, here's the weather.
Here is your weather forecast for today. Looks like partly to mostly cloudy skies. Going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the southwest, right around 11 miles an hour. We do still have a chance of afternoon rain showers or thunderstorms. High of 79 for today. Tonight, low of 55. Tomorrow, pretty much the same as today. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Still a little bit on the breezy side, partly cloudy. High of 81 with an overnight low of 55. For Saturday, sun is going to be shining. Beautiful. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 80s. Lows in the low 50s, pretty much the same for Sunday as well. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thanks, Gina. And right now, Scaro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Locally owned custom meat processor for over 20 years. And they invite you to give them a call. And don't forget, changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. It is great at Scaro's Meats. Okay, now it's your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One of the stories that I wanted to get into in the first hour this morning, and I ran out of time, unfortunately, was that our president, we mentioned this briefly with Rita during her segment, but our president, Obama, still has not talked or called or visited with the Steinle family in San Francisco. And when they were asked about it, the son said, no, now we don't want him to call. And they're very upset with Obama and sanctuary cities, as they should be, and the illegal aliens in this country that have been deported many, many times and have come back and caused horrific damage and murder. And they're doing something about it. They were asked to go and speak at a Senate hearing on Capitol Hill, and what really got me is that they took the families and put them in front of microphones, in front of people that could make changes in this country. The Steinle family and many others. And they talked in front of some senators that didn't have the decency, didn't have the morality, and didn't have the civility to either keep awake or pay attention because they were reading a book. This actually happened. Some of the senators fell asleep, some were reading a book, some were carrying on other conversations, while these families were pouring their hearts out about illegal aliens killing either their sons or their daughters. And our United States senators couldn't keep awake, or they had something other that was much more important. What are you telling me? And Nancy Pelosi, of all people, from San Francisco area, she should have been the first to acknowledge and give caring and thoughtful prayers, etc., to this family. No. She absolutely has never called the family. She's pro-illegal alien immigration and pro-sanctuary cities. On the other hand, Donald Trump has called the Steinle family many times and expressed his condolences and also offered assistance. And he's on the border down at Laredo, Texas today to investigate and gain his own knowledge on how serious and what needs to be done on the border. And the rest of the Republican field, I'm not going to say all of them, but most of them, Lindsey Graham and Rick Perry and others, have condemned him and chided him, and it's nothing but utter chaos in the Republican Party. Shame on them. And then you talk about Obama. This needs to be said. This man that is the President of the United States should be the great uniter, should be the person that wants to pull this nation together. Now, he has called people. Oh, yeah, he's called people. Oh, on Mother's Day, he called 3 mothers. Oh, and then when the Supreme Court okayed gay marriage, he called leading gay activists. Oh, and let's not forget that our illustrious president called Sandra Fluke over the birth control pills cost and said she was a great American and that her family should be proud of her for standing up. And did he call the Steinle family? No. Did he call any of the other families that were killed by illegal aliens? No. Because that would be against the support of his doctrines on illegal alien immigration and sanctuary cities. And that's why I saved this story for last today. I find it appalling that this administration is doing more for others in other countries and those that enter this country illegally than they are for the citizens and the taxpayers of this country who have lost loved ones due to the illegality of this administration. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. Hey, gotta just hopefully change some verbiage here. I'd like to stop calling it illegal immigration and just call it invasion.
I would be in favor of that change. I would support that verbal change. I would.
Okay. Very good. I just am flabbergasted at how out of hand it's really gotten. So
I do appreciate.
So keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. I appreciate that. I do agree with him. This whole thing has got out of hand. We have no border security. We don't have border security. Are you kidding me? I know people in Texas. I've had them on my program. I know a lot of people in Arizona. I've had them on my program. They're scared to leave their ranches at night because of all the theft, all the danger, all the people going across the property. Some people with malicious intent, they're scared to leave. Most of the people carry guns 24/7 down there to protect their families, their livestock, etc. This thing is completely out of hand, and it's all political. And I'm going to be very blunt, to buy votes for the left, the Democrats. It's pathetic. And I'm not giving a whole lot of credit to the GOP either. We have a situation that is absolutely killing our citizens. And something's got to be done. And to the sleepy senators that couldn't keep awake and listen to the testimony by these families, shame on you is not enough. There's other words I'd like to use. But this situation with our congressmen and our senators and this president is shameful. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and they have many of their top tires on sale right now, like for your light trucks, the Open Country HT, all-season tires, superior handling. They are great. And don't forget, too, that they've got the very best in brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. But I want to go back this hour, and I want to just tell you about the service. The service is absolutely amazing. They come in a high-low out to your vehicle to make sure you're taken care of. 7 great locations here in this area. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. Once again, I want to thank Gina Jameson and Wheels for filling in for me yesterday and taking care of everything. God bless both of them. And this is it for us this week. We're going to be taking off for the weekend, and you just have a great weekend yourself. Don't forget, next Monday at 8:06, you can tune back in, and we'll be here saddling the horse for 3 hours from 8 to 11 right here on K-Bar 1230 and streaming live all over the universe on ZebBell.com. But remember this, the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless. We'll see you next Monday.